Good morning. It's good to be with you on this Friday morning. Hope you have had a great week this week. I know that we have. It's been a great week here at St. Matthew's. I'm looking forward to Sunday morning worship. I'll be preaching in our contemporary service intersection. I always like to be able to preach over there. Brian will be in our traditional service. So we'd love to have you worship with us this weekend at St. Matthew's on this Sunday morning. I hope you have a great weekend no matter what you have in store. I'm turned in my paper for my doctoral work, my most recent paper last night, which means I don't have a paper to work on this weekend. And that makes me incredibly happy. I don't have to write anything this weekend. I may start writing something tomorrow, but I don't have to. So we'll see. Anyway, wherever you find yourself, I hope you have a great weekend. And if you're in the Madison area, we'd love to have you worship with us this Sunday at St. Matthew's. Our reading today is going to come from, we're still in John 17. We'll be in John 17 for 2 more days. John 17, we're going to read verses 6 through 19. Just a reminder, this is what's called Jesus' high priestly prayer, where he is praying for his people. He is praying to the Father for us, for his disciples in the world at that moment. And then we're going to see, especially Monday, his prayer for those of us who have not yet, we're not yet there at that moment. So the church now. So let's read chapter 17, verses 6 through 19. I have revealed you to those who you gave me out of the world. They were yours. You gave them to me, and they have obeyed your word. Now they know everything you have given me comes from you. For I gave them the words you gave me, and they accepted them. They knew with certainty that I came from you, and they believed that you sent me. I pray for them. I'm not praying for the world, but for those who you have given me, for they are yours. I all that I have is yours, and all that you have is mine, and the glory has come to me through them. I'll remain in the world no longer, but they are still in the world, and I am coming to you, Holy Father. Protect them by the power of your name, the name that you gave me, so that they may be one as we are one. While I was with them, I protected them and kept them safe by the name that you gave me. None has been lost except the one doomed to destruction, so that the scripture might be fulfilled. I am coming to you now, but I say these things while I am still in the world, so that they may have the full measure of my joy within them. I have given them your word, and the world has hated them, for they are not of the world any more than I am of the world. My prayer is not that you take them out of the world, but that you protect them from the evil one. They are not of the world, even as I am not of it. Sanctify them by the truth. Your word is truth. As you have sent me into the world, I have sent them into the world. For them I sanctify myself, that they too may be truly sanctified. Okay, good stuff here. A lot of good things Jesus says here. Of course, everything that Jesus says is great. But verse 11, where he says, Holy Father, protect them by the power of your name. 15, my prayer is not that you take them out of the world, but that you protect them from the evil one. 17, sanctify them. So I think Jesus, it's important for us to hear what Jesus is saying here is he's not praying that we be saved from our troubles. He's not praying that. We pray the Lord's Prayer, lead us not into temptation. But he's not praying that we don't have troubles. He said, my prayer is not that you take them out of the world, but that you protect them from the evil one. He's praying for our protection, for our safety, for our provision, because he knows this, that sometimes our best growth is going to come from troubles. You know that sometimes our best growth as Christians, because by the way, what does he want for us ultimately? Verse 19, for them I sanctify myself that they may be truly sanctified. His purpose for us is that we are sanctified or made holy. That is what he wants for us ultimately. He doesn't so much want that we be happy. Happiness is nice, but Jesus' purpose for us is not happiness. Jesus' purpose for us is holiness. Now let's stop for a second and talk about this. Holiness is not morality. Morality is I'm a good person and you're a bad person. I'm going to follow these rules here. I'm going to keep this moral code here. I'm going to do this to-do list. I'm going to do these things here. And by doing these things, that makes me a good person. You are not a good person because you don't do the things that I do. So my morality is that I do good things. I follow the rules. I do this. That makes me good. That's my moral code. By the way, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with having a moral code. We all should have a moral code. I have one. I hope that you have one. If you don't have a moral code, you're going to get yourself in trouble in the world. But morality says, I'm a good person. I do these things here, so I'm a good person. You are immoral if you don't do the things that I'm talking about here. Morality, if it's not careful, will lead itself to legalism. That the path to following God is to keep these rules here. Well, Jesus says, I don't pray that they may be moral, I pray that they may be sanctified, or they may be made holy. For we Methodists, we believe in holiness. We believe in sanctification as part of our key doctrines, that we don't believe that salvation stops just the moment of justification, but that salvation continues into our sanctification. Sanctification is being made holy, being made like God. Well, what does holiness look like? We believe holiness looks like this. What's the greatest? To keep the greatest commandment, which is what? To love God, love neighbor. John Wesley talked about perfect love, that as we perfectly have, if we have God's love perfect within us, God's love is shed abroad in our hearts. We know God's grace. We experience God's grace. As we know God's grace, that God's love is made perfect in us. And then we perfectly love our God and we perfectly love our neighbor. For us, holiness is not morality. Morality is I'm a good person, you're a bad person. Holiness is this: God's grace shed abroad in my heart drives out sin from my heart, drives out my wrong, evil desires. And then I perfectly love God and love neighbor. Holiness is the restoration of the image of God. In the fall, sin corrupted God's goodness in us. Holiness or sanctification is where that goodness or that image is restored and remade. As Paul tells us, we are new creations. So he wants us to be sanctified. And so our sanctification, our Christian growth, it doesn't come only in good times. Our Christian growth is not simply, in fact, friends, I think it would be very hard to be sanctified without challenges. I think it would be very hard to be sanctified without struggles. If we don't struggle, if we don't have trials, if we don't have temptations, if we don't have difficult moments where we have to depend exclusively on God, then we're not going to grow. Our growth is going to come by God's grace keeping us in difficult moments. So that's why Jesus says, I don't pray. I'm not praying. My prayer is not to take them out of the world, but that you protect them. Sanctify them by the truth. Your word is truth. I sanctify myself that they too may be sanctified. That remember, y'all, this is what Jesus is praying for us. I have my prayer list I keep in my Bible that I pray every morning. Things and people I pray for. This is Jesus' prayer for us. He prayed this for us as Christians. He prayed this for the church before he went to the cross, before he was crucified, and before he was resurrected. His prayer for us this moment was that we be sanctified, that we be made holy, that we grow, that we experience the depth of God's love. And that love drives out wrong, evil desires, drives out sin, drives out wickedness. So we are called to be sanctified. But let's be very careful. Let's be very careful that we do not allow sanctification, that we do not allow holiness. We do not allow this process of growth to be misunderstood as morality. Morality makes us hard-hearted. Morality makes us judgmental. Morality makes me right and you wrong. Morality says, I've got this all figured out. I've got it. And y'all are all wrong. Holiness says, Lord, have mercy on me, a sinner. And through your grace, drive out my wickedness and my evil. Allow me to experience the depth of your love and holiness, and allow me to love you fully and love my neighbor fully. That's what holiness is. To keep that great commandment, to love God and love neighbor. Perfect love shed abroad in our heart that drives away wickedness, drives away sin, and drives us to love God perfectly and love our neighbor perfectly. So today, this weekend, seek after holiness. Seek after sanctification. Seek after God's growth, because in that we'll truly find our life. Okay. Thanks for being with us today. I hope you have a great weekend, and we will pick up Monday morning as we continue Jesus' prayer for us. Have a great weekend.